Hi, everyone. My name is Jane Shepard, and I am the Director of Growth and Strategy on the Careers team here at Udacity. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to Udacity Festival 2018. We are so excited to have with us today a meeting on the School of Business. And we have with us the head of the School of Business, who is going to talk to you today about the future of how things are going in the world of business in the digital marketing role, trends and what's happening in there. So Anke Odna is here to talk about those trends. Thank you, Anke. And on the chat, we also have with us Lyman Wong, who is the community manager, and two alums from the Udacity Nano degree in digital marketing, Kat Halo and Merlin Francis, who will be online to answer your questions. So this is both an interactive as well as a learning session online with the chat. And then after Anke shares her insights with us, we'll move into some Zoom sessions where you can chat with each other. So let's dive in and get started.
Very good. Well, thank you, Jane.
Sure. So Anke, before you start, we want to find out who's in the room. So let's do a little poll here. And if you can type into the chat where you're joining from, we have people joining us from all over the world. I see Canada, Vancouver, Michigan, Madison, Wisconsin, South Africa, Dallas, Texas, the Netherlands, India, Maryland, North Idaho, Brazil, Kentucky,
wow,
Iran, oh my goodness, North Carolina, Berlin, Mount Vernon, Idaho, Iowa, Egypt, Sacramento, California, Indonesia, Costa Rica, Germany, Hampton, Virginia, Nigeria, all over. So thank you everyone for joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're thrilled that you're here. So let's dive right in. And next slide. I want to just go through what we'll be doing today. So we'll be going through, as I said, the introduction from Anke, and then we'll be going, she'll be talking to us, then we'll move on to some Zoom breakout sessions where you'll have a chance to chat with each other. So Anke, I'd like to pass it over to you right now.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks a lot. Well, and welcome everyone. I'm very glad that you all decided to join us. I know for some of you it's late, for some of you it's early, but we're glad that you're here from all over the world. Let me give you a quick little bit of background about myself. Some of you may know me and may have seen me in the digital marketing nano degree classroom where I teach. That was actually the first degree that I developed for Udacity. It was our first nano degree for the School of Business. Back in the days, we started kind of developing the marketing curriculum. We're still working on a lot of marketing related programs, but we have since then expanded in starting to think about other business topics as well. Our first one was Design Sprint Foundations, and we're definitely thinking about a few other ones, developing a few other ones, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this session. I joined Udacity I came out of the academic teaching world. I was teaching at UCLA in the Anderson School. I have also worked quite a bit in the internet space, in marketing, in research. I worked at Yahoo for a very long time, then started my own business, the Jump Time, sold the business, and then went to OpenX, and there I was responsible for a role in advertising technology. So I've had a few different roles in the private sector and then also in the academic world. Really, really enjoy teaching, and I primarily enjoy teaching at Udacity largely because I get to work with industry partners. And as some of you have seen, the Digital Marketing Nano degree was developed with several partners, Google, Facebook, HubSpot, Hootsuite, etc. And that's really given us an opportunity to stay abreast of all the things that change in digital marketing. But if you've gone through the degree, then you probably have also seen that things do change indeed quite fast. Digital marketing you're kind of never done learning. And what I thought I would do with this kind of quick presentation, we're having about 20 minutes, I wanted to walk you through what I see as kind of the current trends, and I wanted to link that back to the Digital Marketing Nano degree for those of you that have already taken that degree. And you may have seen when you've taken the degree, it's really an introductory degree to all things digital marketing. You get to learn a little bit about kind of search engine optimization, search engine marketing, social media marketing, a little bit about content marketing. We do analytics. So there's all kinds of things that we cover there. But let's relate that back to what we see kind of in the current trends in digital marketing. We can go to the next slide. And there you'll see what and I think you'll see this as you go through the Digital Marketing Nano degree. Marketing is really all about delivering the right message at the right time to the right person. And when we look at the current trends, we'll see that all of those aspects of marketing are slightly changing. They're getting a little bit easier in some ways, and in some ways also a little bit more complex. But let's go through kind of the first part of this, delivering the right message. And we can go to the next slide. So really, when you think about it, what you want to do is you want to deliver your message to a consumer who's online kind of all the time in a world that is right now very much dominated by video and by mobile. However, you kind of want to deliver your message, you want to blend in wherever they are online, but you also kind of want to stand out, make sure that they discover you. So with those things in mind, it's actually not all that easy to do this properly all the time. And we're seeing that there's quite a bit of changes, and that kind of big part of that change is really that delivery of kind of internet experiences on mobile. So when we see, when we go to the next slide, we see that about 72 minutes per day on average are spent watching video online. So video is really kind of the dominant medium right now online, but of that video, 32% is consumed on mobile phones. That has actually changed the way we think about advertising quite drastically. Because it used to be that you would design a video ad. So think about back in the days, like you would design a video ad for TV. You had a neat little video that took about kind of 30 seconds to watch, and there you delivered your message. However, nowadays, with how people consume video, they're basically scrolling vertically through videos all the time. And that scroll really makes for the experience to be quite different, and people have to rethink the design of their videos. So people nowadays mainly consume their video on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, which has made for, on the one hand, that scrolling aspect, but also the fact that a lot of the video that we consume is much shorter in time. So when you go to the next slide, how we see people react to this is that we're starting to think about what we call feed first video. And actually, I'm having one here play, and you recognize this kind of videos. You probably see them all the time when you go through your Instagram feeds, through your video feeds on Facebook, or to your news feed on Facebook. This is trying to deliver something really quick, being eye-catching, but having something that really fits the medium that the user is on these days. And when we talk to our partners at Facebook, actually, this is one of their, it's also a term that they use quite a bit, that feed first video. And what they tell us is that large brands nowadays, when they think about designing advertising and campaigns that they'll design for, kind of could be for TV and just their general campaigns, they will really think about first designing for the mobile screen. That's their very first kind of starting point. And then from there, they'll use those videos and they'll use them even on TV. And then we're talking about big brands like Starbucks, for instance. They will work with Facebook to get their campaigns started, to really think about how do we create an experience that works well in that feed. And then they'll use that same experience and translate it to TV. And that's very different from how we used to think, because you'll all have seen these videos where you feel like, oh, they kind of designed that ad for video, kind of they designed it for TV, and then it came onto YouTube and it's cut off and it's not working properly, etc. We're really seeing that changing in the industry. So that kind of mobile first, feed first video is a big trend that we are experiencing. When you go to the next slide, then one other piece that we see happening is that people and big brands try to be really native to the platform that they're advertising on. And even though they may decide to create a big video campaign, like for instance, Coca-Cola did, this is actually a campaign that they did in India. They had a campaign in which they really, inside the video, showcase the use of social media. So the idea was all about sharing a Coke. So that's their big part of their campaign, the Share a Coke campaign. They did that here. They had the Share a Coke campaign. And in this case, it was Share a Coke with Dad if Dad accepts a friend request. And they show that in the video. And they actually made all of this a big social campaign as well, with hashtag Share a Coke India. And that actually made that transition from the video aspect all the way to kind of really using the native aspects of the social media platform, and therefore being a much more solid and actually successful campaign for Coca-Cola. When we go to the next slide, and we have the video playing here. We'll share that with you later on, but that's just an example. The other piece we're seeing is that people are starting to use augmented reality. And this is something, that's another trend that's quite big in marketing. You will have heard that a few years back, Facebook bought Oculus Rift? I don't even remember the exact name. But when they bought this, it's all about AR, VR, and AR. So VR is really virtual reality. AR is augmented reality. So it's really where you overlay a little piece of it could be a figure, it could be a video, it could be something that you overlay from the digital world onto the real world. When Facebook bought Oculus, initially I thought like, yeah, that's kind of gimmicky, that seems kind of gamey, probably in the game sector, but it turns out that they are using a lot of this technology towards marketing. And we see brands starting to use this. For instance, and this is an example from Zara, and actually what they did is they had this app that you could use. You could actually have their augmented reality app, use it inside the store, and you would see these models walk inside the store or inside the windows of the store. So it really allowed them to overlay that video that's digital onto the real world. Now, actually, we're taking that a step further because we now see that in iOS or even in in Apple Watch, we see some of this augmented reality starting to be integrated, where you can actually easily look at, say, for instance, you can look at a vase and you can say, wow, this vase looks kind of cool. I want to see what it looks like in my house. And you can actually see it in your house right in the app. And actually, Facebook is starting to integrate things like that as well. So AR is kind of a big deal for marketers. So when we go to the next slide, the other parts of content marketing is another trend that we're seeing. And actually, this is one that we, on the Udacity side, we're taking very seriously, largely because what we're seeing is that for marketers these days, when you look at the jobs that are available for marketers, we see that there's quite a bit of demand for content marketers. People who have a way to blend content into native platforms. So the idea is really that as a brand, sometimes you don't really just want to deliver an advertising message, but you may want to deliver content that is either entertaining or that provides some information, and use that content towards generating leads for your brand. So for instance, here, this ad that I show here on the side is one where people share an ebook. And some of you who have taken the digital marketing nano degree will have seen that when we have you run a Facebook campaign, you actually do something that is very similar. We give you an ebook and then you try to promote that ebook on Facebook. And then the idea is really that what we do here is really content marketing. We provide a little bit of extra information to people, and that information makes them feel good about our brand. It generates a lead for us, so it generates an email, and that email address we can use to then later on give people more information about the brand. That's an aspect of content marketing. There's some other elements of content marketing where people are just trying to blend in informational pieces on websites. It's a little bit like an advertorial almost. You've probably seen some of that, but definitely a big trend in marketing. One of the reasons that it's a big trend is that we're starting to see that display advertising and some other elements of advertising are often blocked by users. Users often have these ad blockers in their browsers, and marketers are getting a bit nervous about that. So they want to make sure they find other ways to blend in the environments where people are navigating. So content marketing is a big one, and actually it's one where we are developing an entire program that is going to focus just on content marketing. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this presentation. Then we can go to the next slide. And this is another trend we're seeing is actually a little bit based on what we see in Instagram, in Twitter, in Facebook. Some celebrities have large followings on these brands. So they have a large following on Twitter, they may have a large following on Instagram, and brands really want to use the opportunity to have these celebrities endorse their brands. And that's what we talk about when we look at influencer marketing. And influencer marketing is big because it's proven to work for certain groups of people. So if you have a certain celebrity that really is important to your target audience, if they can endorse your brand to your target audience, that seems to work pretty well, and marketers are embracing that. Then when we go to the next slide, we now know, so we've talked now quite a bit about getting the right message out, right? So you can get the right message out through kind of video, through AR. So those are some of the trends we're seeing. But then we also want to make sure that we deliver that message at the right time. And delivering a message at the right time is all about understanding the customer journey and trying to be where the user is at a certain point in time. And if you take digital marketing, you'll see that we talk about that customer journey a lot, right? So we want to try to follow people as they start to be aware of a product, when they form an interest for a product, all the way to when they purchase, and then later on after they've purchased, we want to make sure they're all happy with it. So that whole journey is something that we follow in a lot of detail. And what we see is that marketers actually have now more ways to understand that journey, and they can be present through omni-channel marketing. They really have more opportunities to touch people wherever they are in that journey. And we can also capitalize on chatbots. So let's take a quick look at all of that. First of all, kind of the omni-channel marketing. Actually, I used an example here from Starbucks because they're often used as kind of the example around omni-channel marketing. No matter on which channel you are, Starbucks has an app that follows you around, that allows you to really kind of make sure that you've got all your kind of loyalty rewards in there. You can pay at Starbucks with your app. You can kind of check what the promotions are that they have. You can save your favorites in there, etc. This is an app that actually they use to also send you promotions when you're at particular locations. It kind of follows you through different channels, whether it be on your phone, whether it even be on your laptop or on another device, or when you are in store and when you're offline. So through all those channels, they are very good at marketing to you at different points in the customer journey. So that's one example. When we go to the next slide, then one other trend that we see is the use of chatbots. Chatbots are increasingly used to kind of close the deal. So when you get a little bit closer when you get into the customer journey and the user is very close to purchase, whether that be because they want to order a pizza or whether that is they are going to order a mattress from Casper, but they're not entirely sure yet about that mattress, you'll see on these websites, you'll see these chatbots pop up. So it's basically a bot, a robot that pretends they're a person. Basically, they try to interact with you like they are a person, and they're very good through natural language and through the technology evolutions in natural language. We can actually really talk to these bots, and it actually makes that customer interaction really better, and it makes it possible for users in that journey to get to the purchase point a little bit faster. So we see brands using these bots quite a bit, and that's something that we will see happen in the future. And then we have our kind of what we've seen as our home devices. You will have heard of Google Home. You may have heard of Amazon Alexa. That's another way for brands to be present in other aspects of that customer journey. Tide, for instance, has created an app that you can actually kind of download to your Alexa device. And then once you have that app, you can interact with Amazon and you can ask, or Alexa, you can ask Alexa what to do about certain stains. So that's a way that Tide felt they can use this extra channel to be closer to the customer and to help them out whenever they may have questions that relate to the products that they provide. So then when we go to the next slide, now the other part of kind of our kind of right message at the right time to the right person. And this is actually the real core of marketing, and especially the core of digital marketing. As you will have seen, digital marketing allows you to find your target and to do that at a very, very, very fine-tuned level. So you can really, these days, you can try to find a target that is right there ready to purchase a mattress, for instance. And we learn about that also in our degree, how you can target people when you want to do search advertising, when you want to advertise on Facebook, etc. But what we're seeing now is, as much as we talk in the digital marketing nano degree about defining your target, then going to Facebook and finding that target inside the Facebook advertising tools, or you can do the same in Google in their advertising tools, what you will see is that both these brands, Facebook as well as Google, are working very hard to make AI be, so artificial intelligence, be the factor that helps you to define and find your target. While now you're very much trying to figure out, okay, what are the right keywords I should target? Where do I find the right people? Are they in this age group or that age group? What types of behavior do they have online? What Google tells me now, when I go there, they really tell me, like, look, our goal is to try to help people to say, okay, you just tell us who you want to reach, what you want to sell, basically. So you sell a mattress, you tell us you sell a mattress, and what we will do is our artificial intelligence will find the right person for you. And we will do that by showing a few ads a few times, and after a while, we will see how people are reacting to those ads, and we will find your exact target using AI. So when we go to the next slide, I actually show an example here of how Google is doing that right now in Google Ads. It says here Google AdWords, they just rebranded. Now they're all called Google Ads. But what they do is they really tell you, okay, you have an app, tell me what your app is. I'll go and check your app out automatically through AI. And then from there, I am going to create an ad for you. I will make sure I put that ad in the right place, and I will find a target for you to get you as many users as possible or as many purchases as possible, whatever your goal is. And it's all executed by AI. And these universal app ads is what they are called. They already exist. And that's a starting point of seeing AI really take over some of that targeting inside digital marketing. So that's what we see in that kind of right person, defining who your target is. AI will help us tremendously with that, and it will open up more opportunities for marketers. So when we think about the marketer's role, you see things are evolving. There are certain trends that are driven by technology that will help us in the future. And I think for some of you, you may think like, whoa, if technology is taking all of this over, is there a task for me as a marketer? And absolutely there is, because it still will come down to us as marketers to make sure that we guide the right message at the right time to the right person. And there's definitely a lot of effort that still lies into creating these messages and into guiding the person through the customer funnel. So let's go into the next slide. So what I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit is, as you go through kind of seeing us talk about trends and stuff, you may think, well, it's all good and well, but hey, I did a digital marketing nano degree, and how do I keep abreast of all of those trends? How do I make sure that I'm on top of all of this once I've completed my degree? And there are different ways to do that. Of course, you could say, well, I'm going to look at the other degrees that Udacity offers, and we will have a few, so we're working on quite a few. But on the other hand, we also feel your pain, and we realize that there is a need to surface more of this information to you. And when we go to the next slide, I'll show you one of the things that we are preparing. It's not ready yet, hasn't been launched yet, so you're getting kind of our sneak peek here. But this is really what we're working on. What we would like to do is create a content marketing hub, we call it. It's really a hub that we will call Insiders. So it's really our kind of way to surface the things that we are seeing by talking to our partners, by talking to our advisory board. We have a group of people that are very prominent marketers that keep advising us on what is new, what we should be teaching, etc. And we want to surface that information here. So we will create this kind of content portal. And as you can see here, what you see here is a mock-up of this, right? So we will have a content portal where you can subscribe to a newsletter of ours. You can see some job postings, and you will also see the things that we want to surface that we think are really interesting. We will also talk about some tools. There's always lots of free tools that you can use in the marketing space that are always helpful. So we will have those and we will surface them. We will talk about tips. We will have our partners surface content to us as well, so that you have a place to go to see what we think is kind of the new stuff in marketing. Now, there's actually a special aspect to this. You know, I talked a little bit about content marketing and how we think it's really important. And it's definitely an area of marketing that is increasingly important. We are creating a content marketing nano degree. And that content marketing nano degree will most likely be something that we release next year. So it's also kind of sneak preview information. We have not talked about this yet. But the idea is that as students in the content marketing nano degree, students will help us to build up this content. And there will be a way for students to have their content marketing surfaced on this blog as well, alongside content from us, the instructors, alongside content from our advisory board. So our advisory board has people like, for instance, say, Avinash Kaushik is on the advisory board. He's an advocate for digital marketing at Google. We have the CMO of Duolingo on the board. We have people from Cisco on the board. We have people from Facebook on our board. So these people have a lot of information that they want to share as well. So we will have a blended environment where students as well as experts alongside each other can provide content. So that's one of the big things that's coming out of our school for next year. We're also working on a few other marketing related things. So we're working on social media marketing ND. We're working on a growth hacking ND as well. Growth hacking is really an area that kind of lies between marketing and product development. For some of the people who are working on, say, if you're on the more entrepreneurial side, you'll see that people often want to resort to growth hacking techniques, which is kind of ways to try to kind of make things grow in ways that relate product and marketing very closely together. And for entrepreneurs, this is often very attractive, but it's also very attractive for larger companies. And we have many large companies asking us about that. So that's another piece that we're working on. So that's just to give you a sneak peek. We are also working on more business related degrees that are not in the marketing space. So we are working on kind of areas related to product management, to UI, UX, etc. We don't have specific plans yet of when we release those degrees, but those are some of the things that we are definitely exploring and working on right now. So with that, I want to close the presentation, or my part of the presentation, and I know that in the meantime, you've had a chance to chat and ask questions, so I'll turn it over to you for questions.
Thank you, Anka. Oh my goodness, thanks for that amazing whirlwind tour through both the exciting new trends in digital marketing in the world and for the Sneak Insider preview of Insider at Udacity. It looks like an awesome tool. We've gotten comments in the chat about how thrilled people are to see that coming, and it looks like an amazing new tool. I think one of the hardest things to do is to drink from the fire hose of changes and information that comes. So thank you for being forward thinking enough to say, let's sort this out and help people keep in touch. So thank you so much, Anka. And now it's time to talk to each other. So at this point, we're going to break into some Zoom sessions, and I'd like you to welcome Karen Baker. Karen Baker is the community manager for alumni and for careers here at Udacity. Not only has Karen organized this amazing session, so thank you, Karen, for making this all possible today, but I'd like to bring her on now so she can explain how logistically we are going to allow you all to talk to each other. So thanks again, Anka, and please welcome Karen.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Great, I'm going to unmute myself. And I'm so excited for this next part of our session, which is a bit of an experiment where we're going to talk to each other. So there's a lot of expertise out there, a lot of experience, and it's not just in the heads of a few people, but in all of you. We are a network all around the world with all different experiences. And so this is the time for you to chat to each other and share those. But you won't be alone. You will have an alumni host. And you can see on the call, you can see Kat Halo, who's a digital marketing nanodegree program alum from Brooklyn. Hey, Kat. And then we also have Merlin Francis, who is based in Melbourne in Australia. So she's waking up very early for us. And she's also a digital marketing nanodegree program alum, as well as a mentor. So you may be familiar with her. And so here are a few rules of the road before we break out. So of course, feel free to post into chat at any time and focus on sharing positive, actionable advice. If you're not speaking, be sure to mute your microphone. And when you do speak, be sure to unmute your microphone. And when you do share, start by introducing yourself, your name, nanodegree program, location. Our alumni hosts are going to kick off, so they'll start by sharing a bit about their experience before asking all of you to share your experiences as well. What's going to happen logistically is that you will see a pop-up very soon on your laptops, on your computers, that says you've been invited to join a breakout session, and you click accept. And we will have about 15 minutes to go and do that and chat and meet each other, and then we'll wrap up and bring it back here. So this is just a quick hello to see the faces of this community. That was great.
I hope all of the breakouts were as interesting as ours was. It was really fascinating. We had Kat did a great job of sharing her personal, and Lyman stepped in, and it was a nice mix of people sharing what their needs were and people sharing solutions. So What a great way to connect. So thank you everyone for being generous of taking a risk to share information and also joining us today to build that community. So what's next? Well, thanks for joining today's session. Our next session starts in 15 minutes and the topic will be how to pitch your project to get the job. So this is about taking what you know and the skills you have and the portfolio you've built and convincing someone that you are ready to take that next step and get the job. The other things you can do right now are you can reach out on LinkedIn and connect with each other. I'm thrilled to see in the chat during the session that people were sharing their LinkedIn profiles. Please connect with each other. Networking is the way to get things to change. The power of this network is not to be underestimated. If this is your final session for today, our message to you is to keep up on LinkedIn and stay in touch. But we do hope you'll stay around and join us for the next session. If you are an alum, we invite you to stay connected with the alumni portal. Within the alumni portal here, which is alumni.udacity.com, you'll find links to join both of all of our platforms, in fact, our alumni Slack, our alumni LinkedIn group, and our alumni Facebook group. It also tells you about additional webinars and events that we have coming up like this because we have them quite regularly. So please check out the alumni portal and stay connected to us. If you're a current student, you can stay connected to each other and Udacity through the brand new Student Hub. Right now, the Student Hub is organized into guided study, which is your individual cohorts, but there are also a brand new channel called Community, where they're going to be building all kinds of resources across the entire nanodegree program with things like experts in residence, AMAs. I know Sebastian is going to do some in a couple of channels, and industry experts sharing information with you. So we invite you to connect with each other and with other experts on this channel as well. So no matter where you're coming from, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for sharing of yourself. Hope to see you again in 15 minutes. And thanks again for joining us. Stay audacious.
Thanks, everyone.
So, bye.
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 Later, Tater.
Bye.